Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. Full house. We got Ron Placone, Steph Zamorano, and Graham Elwood from the Political Vigilante is with us. Hey, Graham, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Fantastic.
I'm miserable.
Yes. All right, let's get to it right away. This is breaking, although this is reported before. Mueller, FBI Chief Mueller, is now investigating Democratic lobbyist Tony Podesta. Who's Tony Podesta? He started one of the biggest lobbying groups in the world with his brother, John Podesta. Who's John Podesta? Hillary Clinton's campaign manager. Those were his emails that got hacked. Remember that? So this is his brother. They're now investigating him. Why would they be investigating him? Oh, because they were working with Trump's former campaign manager, Paul Manafort, in lobbying the United States government on behalf of a pro-Russian political party in the Ukraine. So who was actually working for a pro-Russia party? John Podesta's lobbying firm that he established with his brother, Tony Podesta. So we already showed you that Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton profited hugely over the uranium deal, where they sold uranium to 20% of our uranium production went to Putin and the Russians. We already showed you that Clinton Foundation got $142 to $145 million into their Clinton Foundation over that. Bill Clinton himself got a $500,000 check from a Kremlin-connected bank just for that deal. We've already showed you that corruption. Now there's this corruption. Her campaign manager is working for another pro-Russia government. Her campaign manager's brothers and his former lobbying group. So not John Podesta, but the lobbying group that he established, the Podesta Group, was in 2012, 2013, working for a pro-Russia government in order to lobby the United States government on behalf of the pro-Russian government. If Trump did this, Rachel Maddow's head would explode, Keith Olbermann would literally start foaming at the mouth, and there would be nothing else happening in the news cycle. But here's another example of the Clinton campaign being connected to pro-Russia governments, affecting our government here, lobbying on our own government on behalf of Russia. His freaking lobbying firm that he established. Let me just throw it over. Is that a surprise, anybody?
It's almost like oligarchs have no sense of country, and it's just one big elite club around the world.
It really is.
Wow, I don't know. That's a crazy accusation, Ron. I mean, are you working for the Kremlin when you say that? No, it's so funny because everything, Ron. That's exactly. It's like rollerball. Like we're seeing, this is how the world was before the rollerball movie happened.
Yeah.
Like they are just slowly getting rid of countries. It's just, countries and flags and all that stuff. It's almost just like pro sports.
Yeah.
You know, because who's really running the world are these rich people, and they don't care about it. They don't care who has uranium. They don't care about any of it. They just care about their money and their power, and they will use this corporate media to push their nonsensical objectives to get everybody tricked. That's all they do.
And it's worked, by the way.
Oh, it's so effective.
So when you do something like this, when you lobby the United States government on behalf of a foreign government, you're supposed to declare yourself as a foreign agent. And they didn't. They tried to hide that money. Well, let's give you some background. This is from the AP. Under federal law, U.S. lobbyists must declare publicly if they represent foreign leaders or their political parties and provide detailed reports about their actions to the Justice Department. A violation is a felony and can result in up to 5 years in prison and a fine of up to $250,000. Now, you and I both know Tony Podesta is not going to go to prison for this. He may pay a fine, but he's not going to be a convicted felon.
He's not even going to pay a fine.
I doubt anything will happen. So what he did was he tried to skirt the laws and not register as a foreign agent like he's supposed to. But what they will often let them do is then go back and refile if they catch you. So he got caught. Oh, you caught me? So now I'll go back and refile like I was supposed to, and now I'm in compliance. So they're allowed to break the law until they get caught. And then when they get caught, they just have to go back and do it like they were supposed to. No one else gets that except oligarchs. No one else gets that treatment. Political consultants are generally leery of registering under the foreign agents law because their reputations can suffer once they are on record as accepting money to advocate the interests of foreign governments, especially if those interests conflict with America's. You mean like they did? What did they? Tony, by the way, the Podesta Group was working for Manafort. He was the coordinator, and they were working for him. So literally, Hillary Clinton's campaign manager's lobbying firm that he established and founded was literally working for the Russians, right? Literally working for the Russians. Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, getting them the uranium to the Russians. So Paul Manafort was overseeing the work that the Podesta Group was doing. So literally, Hillary Clinton's campaign manager's group was taking orders from Donald Trump's campaign manager. Do you follow that? Was that so? The group, the Podesta Group, founded by Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, was taking orders from Paul Manafort, who was Trump's campaign manager. Literally, that's how they were working together. So this whole thing, when we show you pictures of the Clintons going to Donald Trump's wedding and them all golfing together and giggling together, it's a big group and you're not in it. The lobbying group working with Trump's campaign manager's lobbying group to lobby against the United States government in favor of Russia. That's what literally was happening. So the Clinton campaign and the Trump campaign were literally working together to further Russia's interests and downplay the United States' wishes internationally. This is true. Well, here's more stuff coming. That lobbying that they did included downplaying the necessity of a congressional resolution meant to pressure the Ukrainian leader to release an imprisoned political rival. So the Ukrainian leader, Viktor Yamashenko, I think I said his name correctly. It's hard to say. I'm not good at this. Comedian. And so they were, the Congress was going to have a resolution meant to pressure him to release his political prisoners because he was pro-Russia. Get it? Tony Podesta and Paul Manafort worked to downplay that resolution. So what the will of the Congress, meaning the will of the people, Tony Podesta, John Podesta's brother, and the group that he founded worked against the United States' interests. That's literally what they were doing. That's why they didn't want to register as foreign agents. And that's why there's a problem. That's why Mueller is investigating this. Hey, you were supposed to register as a foreign agent. Well, we knew this last August, by the way, when this story broke. And they didn't. So what normally happens is they let them go back and refile, and nobody's a criminal, even if you got caught. Sounds like Mueller might want to prosecute him. Who knows? But that's what it sounds like it might be happening. Donald Trump's campaign chairman, Manafort, helped a pro-Russian governing body in the Ukraine secretly route at least $2.2 million in payments to two prominent Washington lobbying firms in 2012. One of them was the Podesta Group. Isn't that something? Trump's campaign manager funneled $1 million to the Podesta Group, the PR firm founded by Hillary Clinton's campaign manager. Isn't that something? Now, do you feel like a sucker and a chump for believing all that Russia bullshit from Rachel Maddow, CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, and the Washington Post, which comes directly from the CIA? If you read it in the Washington Post and it has to do with Russia or foreign policy, that is coming directly from the CIA. So this is what literally they did this. Again, if this was Trump, Rachel Maddow, Keith Olbermann, Joyanne Reed, Anderson Cooper would all be foaming at the mouth, and you wouldn't hear anything in the news except this. So $2.2 million in payments to two prominent Washington lobbying firms, and did so in a way that effectively obscured the foreign political party's efforts to influence U.S. policy. So they did it in a corrupt way, in a clandestine way, in a secret way, in a criminal way. Criminal. Isn't that something? After being introduced to the lobbying firm, the European nonprofit paid the Podesta Group $1.13 million between June 2012 and April 2014 to lobby Congress, the White House, National Security Council, the State Department, and other federal agencies, according to U.S. lobbying records. So the Podesta Group was lobbying at the behest of pro-Russia government, our own government, trying to alter what our government wanted to do. And they didn't want to register as foreign agents when they did it. Why? Because they're corrupt criminals. And they don't give a shit about your country. They care about cash, as Graham pointed out and Ron pointed out. One former Podesta employee speaking on condition of anonymity, by the way, this is all from an AP article last August. So all the shit that's coming out now is because, Mueller, Podesta. Mueller's he's now going to investigate. Well, this was all known before. Nobody talked about it. So one former Podesta employee speaking on condition of anonymity because of a non-disclosure agreement said, by the way, we got to get those for this show, said Gates described the nonprofit's role in an April 2012 meeting as supplying a source of money that could not be traced to the Ukrainian politicians who were paying him and Manafort. So it's all corrupt. It's all criminal. They know that what they're doing, and they know that that story that they're telling you about Russia is now going to somehow is invading our elections and overthrowing our government somehow. They know that's a bullshit story. You know who doesn't? All the useful idiots on the left who repeat it. This is the story you should be talking about. The other story you should be talking about is the uranium deal. And the other story you should be talking about is how both parties came together to set the Middle East on fire and are continuing to do that. And the official policy of our government was war crimes and torture. That's what they should be talking about, and how we're now spending what could have erased all our college debt and sent everybody to school for free. We're now giving that to bombs in the military-industrial complex, instead, against the will of the people. But we're not going to talk about that. They're going to talk about Russia, 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 but in the wrong way, in a propaganda way that John Podesta invented. They're literally repeating shit that John Podesta and Robbie Mook thought up in their own fucking corporate headquarters. And now MSNBC repeats it. Left-wing podcasters repeat it. NBC, New York Times, of course, the Washington Post comes right from the CIA if it's in the Washington Post. There's a little bit more to this. In separate interviews, 3 current and former Podesta employees said disagreements broke out within the firm over the arrangement, which at least one former employee considered obviously illegal.
There was one dude.
But wait a minute.
That person must have been fired immediately.
Yes, does it smell weird to anyone else? Anyone? Anyone? What do you mean I got to go take a break?
Yeah, hit the bricks, friend.
Smells good to me. You're fired. Because this is what's weird to me, you guys. I was told that corruption in America started on January 20th, 2017. That's what I was told. When Trump got elected, that's when corruption started. Turns out, oh my God, Hillary Clinton's campaign manager's lobbying firm that he founded is doing illegal, nefarious shit, lobbying on behalf of Russia to thwart the will of Congress. That's what Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, and now you think that she's not a treason? You think that if anybody's treasonous, they're all treasonous? Somehow, he's a Ruski. He's going to give our country over to Russia. You idiots. You dupes. You willingly just ingest that propaganda. You really think Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton have integrity? They've had people killed all over the world at their behest and laughed about it. That's who they are. They gutted welfare and exploded the prison population and then wagged their finger at black people for not voting for her. That's who they are. A little bit more to this article from the AP. Lobbyists in general prefer not to register under the Foreign Agents Law because its requirements are so much more demanding, making their activities more open to public scrutiny.
Oh, that's...
And they did not want their actions being scrutinized. They want you to think about Trump, 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 Trump. Trump is with Russia. Trump is with Russia, and here they are in bed with Russia. And the other story we talked about, the Uranium One deal, where Hillary Clinton signed off on that deal, and they stuffed their pockets with Russian cash in the process of it. That's the real corruption.
I like how we live in a country where, like, if lobbyists prefer not to register, well, yeah, that's just going to kind of slip under the rug. But we'll go after American bureaus and media like RT America.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure that they have to pay now.
So that's what they're doing to RT. So now RT has to register. I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing as foreign agents. So if you work at RT, you have to now register as a foreign agent. So like Chris Hedges, a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist who told the truth about the Iraq War. So the New York Times fired him because he wouldn't stop telling the truth about the Iraq War. He's now considered a foreign agent because he tells the truth about America.
Yeah, and this law has not been applied to a media outlet in
Ever.
a long time, or barely ever, and
Okay.
now they're doing it to RT.
So I'm trying to see if I understand this correctly. So if I understand what you're saying correctly, so Vince McMahon sat Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock down and said, who's going to win? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
It's like professional wrestling.
Yeah.
That's what this all is about. Russia's not an enemy.
No.
They're just someone we do business with.
Yes.
It's professional wrestling.
Yes,
You're
it
going to
is.
win this match. Okay? And you're going to act like, and you're going to get hit with a chair and you're going to pretend like it hurts, and that's what this is.
But who gets all the uranium?
Vince McMahon.
Okay.
So now there's a little bit more. So now there's a new, so the NBC article, let's go to the NBC article. And they're reporting it kind of mealy-mouthy. For instance, they say Manafort had organized a public relations campaign for a nonprofit called the European Center for Modern Ukraine. So the nonprofit, the European Center for Modern Ukraine, was a cover for who funded them, Ron? Who funded them? Remember, it was the Party of
Regions?
The Party of Regions.
Mm-hmm.
And who is the Party of Regions, Ron?
Party of Regions is a pro-Russian Ukrainian political party.
So they funded this, what's supposed to be called a nonprofit European Center for Modern Ukraine. Podesta's company was look at how they say it, was one of the many firms that worked on the campaign. You know what? There's a lot of people. Who knows what they did? A lot of people. Which promoted the Ukraine's image in the West. The pro-Russian government Ukraine image in the West. Not just the Ukraine, the pro-Russian government. See what they left out? You see how they say that? Many fucking firms worked on that, and they were just promoting the Ukraine. Oh, no, they were promoting the pro-Russian government. At what? At whose expense? The Congress. They were downplaying Congress's will, which is supposed to be our will, which is why they didn't register as foreign agents. The sources said the investigation in Podesta and his company began as more of a fact-finding mission about the ECMU and Manafort's role in the campaign, but has now morphed into a criminal inquiry into whether the firm violated the Foreign Agents Registration Act known as FARA. Well, they did. We know Podesta's group did that. It's always just a question of whether they're going to prosecute him. Just like when the FBI chief, now I'm blanking on his name, investigated Hillary Clinton. Comey, and he said that they found 102 emails, 52 email chains that contained classified information. 8 of those emails were top secret, 32 secret, 8 contained classified information. So just like then, he goes, this is going to sound crazy on a couple different levels, but I'm not going to prosecute.
And Hillary Clinton said it was a mistake.
It was a mistake. So this is what they're going to say. It was a mistake. Our counsel told us to go and register. I was just following what my lawyer said. That's what they're going to say. My lawyer's advice was to not sign up as a foreign agent and to do it this way. But if you say we should do it that way, well, then we'll go ahead and do it. It's too late. You're already a criminal. Oh, I thought we could just come into the bank and take it with a gun, but if you say we can't, then I'll put it back and then I'll come and withdraw it the right way.
So Jill Stein just happens to sit at a table with Putin, and she is a Russian operative. Red to the core. She threw the election, but this is just a clerical error. We just goofed it up. Like, boink, we didn't know we were supposed to file this thing. But Jill Stein clearly is working hand in hand with Russia. There is no evidence to this degree, but just a photo at a table. Like, she could have shaken hands with someone at a wedding and been convinced and thought of as just as guilty. And this is like they didn't know.
So everything that's been being reported since before Election Day about Trump and Russia is called a conspiracy theory because there's no evidence. You guys have been, so you're telling me Trump is the biggest nincompoop that we've ever had, the biggest moron ever, sticks his foot in his mouth 3 times a day before breakfast. But somehow he's so clever, he's managed to stay one step ahead of the FBI, the NSA, the CIA, and the Department of Homeland Security. He's such an idiot, and even though they have every email, every text, and every phone call he's ever made, he's still able to stay one step ahead of those guys. Isn't that something? So if you've been reporting that fucking Russia narrative that was cooked up by Robbie Mook and John Podesta, shame on you. If you've been reporting that uncritically, and if you report that story without saying, by the way, there's never any evidence, if you report it that way, shame on you. And believe me, lots of people doing that. Lots of people on the right, lots of people in the center, lots of people on the left reporting it that way. Because people, you can't let Trump turn you into a liar because it's Trump. You can't let Trump turn you into a red baiter. You can't let Trump turn you into the thing you're trying to fight against. Then you're no better. And guess what? MSNBC is no better than Trump. Guess what? Rachel Maddow is no better than Trump. Guess what? She's no better than Sean Hannity. She's no better than Bill O'Reilly. Roger Ailes, she calls a friend. There's a little more to this. Okay, we could skip that. The Podesta Group amended its FARA registration. Oh, they did amend it to accurately reflect its work with it. So they didn't at first. Then we got to read. Only after payments were reported by the media.
Thank you, media, for reminding us that we forgot. That was so nice of you guys. Gee golly.
If it wasn't for the media, I wouldn't know how to file my taxes. I would just be like, boing.
April 15th.
Is that this year?
I skipped it, but the media reminded me.
Is it every April 15th? Or is it just this past year?
Maybe you wait for the media to let you know.
Okay. Because nobody told me taxes were important.
Manafort's firm also filed a FARA registration after media reports in June disclosed its work in Ukraine from 2012 to 2014. So they're all liars. They're all corrupt criminals, okay? There's no countries anymore. There's only companies. A spokeswoman said the Podesta Group's original filing was submitted after the advice of legal experts. Just what I said. They're going to say, it was a lawyer who told us, and that we didn't know. We rely on our lawyer to tell us what to do.
Right, and they probably just go with the Podesta Group probably doesn't have the money for a giant law firm. They're probably hiring just like first-year legal students and those
It's probably
kids.
an intern
Yeah.
that was like, I forgot to read that paragraph.
Hey,
Shit.
intern, can you Google the laws on this and just tell me if it's right?
A spokeswoman said the Podesta Group's original filing was submitted after the advice of legal experts because the ECMU, quote, had certified that it was neither funded nor directed by a foreign government or political party. But they were. The ECMU was funded by who, Ron?
The Party of Regions, which is a pro-Russia political party in the Ukraine.
So that's a lie. That's not true. And you're going to try to tell, and the Podesta go, we didn't know. Yeah, I know. I know. After the media reports, said the spokeswoman, the Podesta Group reached out to FARA regulators who instructed how the firm should file. Oh, thank you. You didn't reach out to them before, though, right? You didn't reach out to them before on how to file? You filed illegally first, and then when you got caught by the media, you reached out to them, right? Can you believe that's how they're reporting it to the NBC? This is how NBC's reporting it.
You fill out this other part and then click submit. Oh, that's how we do.
Can you imagine how many people like yourself, Graham, if you could do something retroactively and then you'd get a pass? How fantastic would our lives be?
Oh my God! I screwed up some tax forms literally when I created my corporation. And it
stressful.
cost me thousands of dollars, and my accountant screwed it up. I wish I would have been given this pass.
Yeah.
Oh, my accountant screwed it up, and then have the franchise tax board just go, hey, no problem, buddy.
Yep.
You're good.
The last part of this NBC News story says the report said that the ECMU campaign was designed to sway public opinion and included attempts to solicit favorable press coverage in the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal. So Hillary Clinton's campaign manager's PR firm that he founded was literally lobbying the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal to write pro-Russia articles that downplayed the will of the Congress. And they were also lobbying Congress, and they were also lobbying the State Department. They were also lobbying lots of people in the United States government, which is why you're supposed to register as a foreign agent. And they did it on purpose. Why? Because they didn't want anyone to know what they were doing, because if people knew what they were doing, it'd be like, why are you working for Russia? And then it would ruin their whole thing about Trump's working with Russia. Turns out Clintons are working with Russia. Isn't that weird? Turns out Barack Obama and his Justice Department were in collusion with Russia. Isn't that weird? I thought it was just Trump, though. So this neoliberal corporate Democrat bullshit narrative of this red-baiting McCarthyism that's been going on since before the election, it ain't going to stop, but it reveals the people. Anybody pushing that story, it reveals them. It reveals that they're not, you can't trust them. Either they're deranged, they get deranged over Trump, or they think Trump's so bad it gives them a permission to lie.
Oh, can I throw in a quick aside? Because I've been looking at some of the YouTube comments. When we say red baiting and McCarthyism, we're not implying that they're communists. We know that's not the case anymore. We're talking about the xenophobic fear of Russia and how you're using that.
So the irony, Ron, is that, no, they're not Soviet Union anymore. They're not communists. We exported our own crony fucking capitalism to Russia, right? So now that's what they're doing. They're raping their own country. There's a bunch of billionaire oligarchs, just like in our country. But red baiting means when they keep doing this stuff with Russia, they're playing on the psyche of the American public that had it ingrained that Russia had been trying to infiltrate our country and take it over, the Red Scare. So they're playing on that. We know they're not communists. And they know they're not communists, although they slip sometimes and forget. And they refer to the Soviet Russia. They do that. They do that. These red baiters, they'll do that. I saw it happen today on Twitter. So a blue check guy referred to you sound like you're with the Soviet Russia. Soviet Russia's been over for 20-some years. So, yeah, we know that. But that doesn't mean that they're not doing that. So they're creating a xenophobic, McCarthy-like red baiting. That's what that is. So you can say whatever you want in your comments and enjoy being wrong. Because that's what this is. This is red baiting McCarthy. If we never had McCarthyism before, they wouldn't be able to do this. Just a couple years ago, when Barack Obama was trying to get reelected, he was mocking Mitt Romney for doing exactly what the left is doing now, pretending that Russia is our geopolitical foe. Barack Obama mocked him and said, the 1980s called they want their foreign policy back. That's what Barack Obama said to Mitt Romney. And everybody has amnesia. Everybody has amnesia about the Uranium One. Everybody has amnesia about this. Nobody even wants to know about this stuff. And the way people report it sometimes, They go, oh, why would they make such a, like when the Clintons took all that money for the uranium deal? Oh, that's such bad optics. They shouldn't have done that. That's not bad optics. That's called corruption. You know why it looks like corruption? Because it is corruption. Sometimes corruption just doesn't look like corruption. Sometimes it's corruption and it looks like that because it is. So, the idea that the Democratic Party is going to save us from Russia, just like Dylan Ratigan said, is going to save us from, is crazy. The Clintons filled their pockets making arms deals and uranium all around the country, all around the world. Barack Obama, same thing, which is why we don't have a functioning healthcare system or a functioning financial sector. Just that's what Dylan Ratigan said. That's an award-winning financial journalist, not me. I'm just repeating. So this idea that, well, we got to stop Trump, we got to impeach him because he's uniquely all this other corrupt, and he's not uniquely corrupt. As far as I can tell, he hasn't even started one illegal war yet. You know how many Barack Obama's doing? He's up to 7 when he left. Any last words on this? Because that's it. So again, people will still do this. Rachel Maddow is going to somehow spin this into something bad about Trump. I've seen people report this story and turn it into something bad about Trump. I have seen it already. So there's a rot inside of our body politic in America, and it's called cash. And no one's held accountable ever, except if you try to protest it. Then they'll call you a terrorist, and they'll crack your head open, pepper spray you, chemical assault you, and make you shit in your own pants and throw you in a jail cell and take your medicine away. If you try to protest this stuff. If you do this stuff, they give you millions of dollars and a slap on the hand. But if you protest this stuff, you will get your head cracked in, and you will do jail time. That's America. So thank you very much. I'm glad this is being reported now, and NBC reporting it in a mealy-mouthed bullshit way, so we'll report it in the right way. I had to go back to get an article from the AP from last year. No problem. Thanks, NBC. Stay shitty. That's why I have a job. The next live Jimmy Dore show is November 6th in Burbank, California, and November 12th in Portland, Oregon. Link for tickets right there.